Traitors, backstabbers, and betrayers are some of the most hated villains in fiction, and these films make sure they get their comeuppance, but they also exist in real life. Today we will check out top traitor celebrities of all time. 7. From best friends to bitter enemies. Famous friendships can be fickle sometimes. There's the problem of making friends with actors who may or may not be portraying their true personalities. Then there's the inevitable issue of competition. Winona Ryder claims that's exactly what happened to her close kinship with Gwyneth Paltrow. The two A-listers were inseparable in the 90s, however, that their friendship soured to the point of animosity after Paltrow allegedly stole a leading role from under Ryder's nose. Adding insult to injury, Paltrow won the Academy Award for Best Actress for that part. No wonder Ryder started slandering her all over town, and no wonder Paltrow fought back with some snarky comments of her own. Back before they became super famous, Ryder and Paltrow were allegedly roommates, and even dated best friends Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, which helped solidify their budding friendship even more. 6. Johnny Fairplay on his infamous dead grandma lie. On Survivor Pearl Island, Johnny Fairplay, aka John Dalton, had his loved one's friend Thunder Dan tell him upon arriving that his grandmother had died, causing Fairplay's tribernates to tear up and allow him to win the award so he could find out more information about his deceased grandma. But it was all a premeditated ruse. Fairplay later told listeners that his grandmother was sitting home watching Jerry Springer right now. At least he didn't win. Later, when teammates questioned his loyalty, he was quick to swear to them on his grandmother's grave that he was being true to his word. They didn't find out about his lie until that show aired. But on the reunion show, when host Jeff Probst tried to get the other players to express their horror over the lie, no one was taking the bait. In fact, by the end of the hour, outrage and anger at John seemed to transform into open admiration. With awe in her voice, one fellow player called John's lie brilliant, another referred to his ability to lie as a rare talent, while a third, ironically dressed in Boy Scouts uniforms, congratulated him on his powers of deception. Before proceeding further, please subscribe to the channel and click on the notification icons so you'll get notified when we upload the next video. 5. Hollywood's ultimate power couple. The Hollywood love triangle that will never go out of style. While it's been years since Brad Pitt was in a high-profile relationship, his former ex-wives and actresses Angelina Jolie and Jennifer Aniston continued to be an indelible aspect of his personal life, especially as a major gossip-monger fodder. Even though the trio has respectively moved on to their respective love lives, we continue to be invested in what was once Hollywood's power couple. In a Parade interview released September 15th, Pitt sniffed that he wasn't living an interesting life while married to Aniston, whom he left for Jolie in 2005, and that he was trying to pretend my marriage was something that it wasn't. For the January 2019 version of Elle, Aniston opened up about her marriage to Pitt and Theroux, saying that just because they ended doesn't mean they weren't valuable. My marriages, they've been very successful in my personal opinion, she said. And when they came to an end, it was a choice that was made because we chose to be happy, and sometimes happiness doesn't exist within that arrangement anymore. 4. Horrible best friend. When Shania Twain married hotshot producer Robert John Mutt Lange, she thought their marriage would be for life. Together, they made beautiful music, collaborating on her top-selling 1997 album, Come On Over, and making millions in the process. Keen to escape the fame frenzy, they moved to the quiet Swiss town of Corso, overlooking Lake Geneva, and the arrival of their son Edja in 2001 only added to their joy. Shania also found a best friend in PA, Marie-Anne Thubod, who the couple had hired to look after their 46-room chateau. And when the Canadian singer shared fears that Mutt was cheating, Marianne said she was being delusional. Then in 2008, Mutt came home and told Shania he wanted a divorce. The very next day, his motive became clear. He had allegedly been having an affair with Marianne. Mutt denied the claims, but Marianne's devastated husband, Nestle executive Frederick Thibault, had uncovered alleged evidence including phone bills and hotel receipts, and was the one who broke the news to Shania. Shania was so desperate to stay with Mutt that she even penned a heartbreaking note to her love rival, begging her for mercy. 3. Kelsey versus Camille Grammer. Camille Grammer claims her husband of 13 years convinced her to sign on to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills so he could go be with his now wife Kayte Walsh. Looking back, maybe he wanted to keep me preoccupied in California while he was off having an affair in New York, Camille said. "I have to tell you, The Real Housewives was my parting gift to her," Grammer said in the interview. "It was my way of saying, look, you always wanted to be famous, here you go." Camille Grammer has said that Kelsey was the one that encouraged her to do the show. Kelsey told Morgan he knew their marriage was ending even when she signed up for the show. "I remember having one conversation where I said, well, don't worry about it. After the first season, you can do the Divorced Wives of Beverly Hills next season," he said. 2. Heidi and Spencer Pratt versus Lauren Conrad. Any fan of The Hills worth their salt will remember that despite being siblings, Spencer and Stephanie Pratt spend most of their time on the show at loggerheads. There was, of course, the time Spencer branded Stephanie a traitor for becoming friends with his nemesis Lauren Conrad and then refused to speak to her for months. And who can forget the moment Spencer had a full-scale meltdown and screamed in Stephanie's face that she was not relevant to his life right in the middle of a housewarming party? Well, despite 14 years having passed since The Hills first aired, their feud kicked off again in 2019 when Spencer, his wife Heidi Montag, and Stephanie were all reunited for a reboot of the show. But after clashing with Heidi during a photo shoot to promote The Hills' new beginnings, Stephanie branded her and Spencer the most toxic people she'd ever met. "I'm not going to pretend that Spencer and Heidi are good people like I was doing for the most of my series for my parents," she said during an episode of her podcast. "For the shit they've done to me recently, I'm done. They're the most toxic people I've ever met. Heidi doesn't want Spencer to have a relationship with anyone but her," she went on. "And you know what? That's fine. I don't want a relationship with Spencer anymore. This is me actually exiting my family. I've tried to be nice to her for 10 years because I love my brother. It never changes." And over on Instagram, Stephanie went on to describe Heidi as evil, awful, and a truly hideous person. 1. Erin Barry, Tony Parker, marriage and betrayal. Eva Longoria had opened up about how she felt finding out that her husband Tony Parker had cheated on her. The Desperate Housewives actress admits that she did initially question herself upon discovering that Parker had exchanged hundreds of text messages with another woman. "It wasn't about who he chose. I mean, I had moments of, am I not sexy enough? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not smart enough?" Longoria said during an appearance on the Demi Moore-produced Lifetime series, The Conversation with Amanda D. Cadenet last night. "But in so many of these questions, I immediately stopped and said, no, don't start doing that because you can get stuck in that cycle." While reports have said Erin Barry, the wife of former NBA player Brent Barry, is the woman who came between Longoria and her husband, both Barry and Parker have denied an affair. Longoria didn't name names in her interview, but she did say that it took her some time to realize that Parker's actions were definitely not about me. Which one is the most shocking for you? Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button.